Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives us immense joy and energy at St. M.R. Jaipuria School to welcome our distinguished guest, Mrs. Manu Juneja, a lady who has been a catalyst of positivity, innovations, creativity, and capability building. Mrs. Manu Juneja has helped employee development by providing skill-based opportunities and programs across the world.
So my plan is that for the first 10 to 15 minutes or so, I'll share a little bit of story of my life, and then I will turn to you. So for the next 45 minutes of the session, I'm hoping that all of you will share your stories of your lives, and we'll do some kind of interaction. So I'm really hoping at the end of this hour, you would leave away with at least one lesson that hopefully you can apply today in your life. And so I went there to do a 3-month full-time volunteering assignment to help them fundraising at this NGO in Bombay. So 2 weeks into the project, I had a board meeting. So the NGO board was coming together, and they actually wanted me to present to them what I thought about doing this event. So I went to that meeting, I told them, your idea is bad. And when they asked me what other ideas do you have for fundraising, I just, shrugged my shoulders and said, I don't know, maybe you'll tell me. And they didn't know it either. So at the end of the meeting, they thrashed my spreadsheet. They told me my maths was wrong, which wasn't. And they also told me that I knew nothing about fundraising in the NGO sector, which was actually true. I remember calling my husband at the end of the day and saying, I think I should just come back from Bombay. I don't think this is the right thing for me, and some kind of optimism. I knew that I did not have a breakthrough idea to help with the fundraising, but I also knew that optimism was one thing that has always helped me to continue to live my life the way I have. This one morning, and I said, Dr. Parikh, I have this brilliant idea. And he said, what is it? What if we went to the pharmaceutical companies and told them, you recognize people that are aligned to your disease areas, and maybe they would sponsor it. So in the moment, I just came up with a random number. I said, 5 lakhs? And she said, sure, send me the contract and agreement, and we'll be done. So that meeting was the start of a series of successes, or a series of things that came true for me and for the NGO that I worked with. So the lesson of that story, my story, is so number one, the thing that I just said, when you do good to others, good happens to you. I think the second lesson that I learned was to trust my own instinct. And lastly, the third lesson for myself was that I learned to live with optimism and curiosity. Those were the only 2 things that kept me going. So you heard my story, and I'm going to turn to you about what's your story.
Whenever I feel upset, or whenever I feel that my world is shattered, or things are not going according to me, I get up and I think that, no, Malika, you have to do it for her because she looks up to you.
Empathy actually means when you empathize a person, his emotions, you keep yourself at that person's place and imagine what is happening with that person, and you feel what that person is feeling at that point of time.
Giving starts very early in your life, and it's giving of your time, it's giving of your talent, it's giving of your behaviors, it's giving of your energy. When you come into this room, each of you brought an energy to the room. It could be positive, it could be negative. You can give that energy to this room. You can give that energy to your friend circle. You can give that energy back to your family. So what are you giving today? And who will you give it to?
As all of us know that in India we have a male-dominated society. People don't really encourage women going out of their houses and changing the world, So ma'am, what were the obstacles that prevented you from doing what you loved and changing the world?
Probably the biggest and the most challenging step is your first entry into whatever professional career you're getting into. So for me, it was entering into the private sector world. And that was the toughest. So doing my MBA and then landing my first job was probably the toughest. And after that, it just seemed natural for me to do what I wanted to do. So my philosophy in life has been, I go where my happiness is. So I don't necessarily go where the money is. I could have stayed in marketing and maybe just went up the ranks, but that wasn't making me happy. So I just went with that. So if you're that type of person, I would just say, follow your gut. and I think options will open up for you.
They were not imposing themselves on each other, but it is just that it was happening that way. And I felt, empathizing with them, I also learned that we need to listen to the parent also. It's not that at this age children are always right. Both of them are right in their own way, and a collaborative solution has to be found.
Somehow in India we think art is only restricted to private homes, sitting in their living rooms. But we're trying to, and we brought your art from your art rooms to the courtyards. We'll bring it to the building as well, and let the people of the school, people of Lucknow also enjoy that art. So the building will actually have some really nice artwork on the facade.